Welcome to the sprint for the Evernym team that's responsible for Indy and demo. This is for our contributions to Indy and Sovereign. This is our demo for the sprint we just completed. First sprint demo in December of 2018. And the Indy Node team completed a release, the 1679 release, and it's got a number of fixes to memory leaks, some polish. We removed some deprecated code, but we also spent a lot of time polishing producing transfer of knowledge artifacts. We have some new developers on our team, and so the engineers defined the plenum protocol and did some architecture documents. If you'd like more information about that, feel free to check a previous YouTube video where we recorded an internal training on those documents and went through it in some detail. So we're going to demo a chunk of those, or a chunk of the work we did here. On the SDK side, we also worked on a release. We decided to postpone the release a little bit, so expect that release next week, in order for us to complete an upgrade of a dependency library of Apache Milagro. And that upgrade will allow us to move to Hyperledger Ursa, which is the new crypto library that's the evolution of Indy crypto, and it resolves some old issues that we had, specifically with revocation. And so that's why we're doing that now, and we expect that to be done in the next few days. Revocation, the changes to revocation are backwards incompatible, so previous revocation proofs will be deprecated, will have to be reissued, but it's been marked experimental. Nobody's really using it at the moment, so we don't expect that to be a concern. If it is, feel free to reach out so I'm aware of the consequences and we can address them. So most of this focus for this sprint, besides the release prep, has been getting VCX ready. It's the libVCX, the Verifiable Credentials Exchange API, is part of this release. It's in experimental status. It's been used by Evernym internally for quite a while now, and so we're pretty excited. We think it's ready for people to use, but we want some feedback before we remove that experimental tag. So there's a number of items with exposing to logging and just general cleanup items related to VCX. And we had a number of bug fixes as well. So with that brief explanation of our sprint, Artem is going to go into more detail on the preparation we did for the VCX release. Then Nikita will talk more about the upgrade to AMCL and the changes to revocation. And then we'll have Vladimir Renata explain the changes in Indy Node with the new release and some fixes to the BLS signature that proved to be really important for performance. So with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and let Artem take over.
Actually, I don't need screen sharing because I don't have anything to show. My demo will be more informative. So, as you mentioned before, SDK team mostly concentrated on VCX task. In the last sprint, we did several tasks related to VCX code base. I can divide these tasks into 3 different groups. So first of them is related to our continuous integration process. We updated our CI/CD pipelines to run to include VCX as a part of them. We did now VCX works for Windows Platform 2. We run VCX text on Windows machine in CI/CD. Also, we are building zip artifacts for them. These artifacts placed in the same repo as libIndy does. So the second group of the task was devoted to libVCX logging. We did it for libVCX and its wrappers, Java and Python, implemented the same approaches we did for libIndy. And now the VCX user can easily get piped login of VCX, libIndy, and wrapper in the one file. And the third part of tickets was related to some minor bug fixes related to VCX, and also improving its documentation. We added a couple of readmes for VCX wrappers and main library, how to get an artifacts, how to install, and how to use it. And as I said early, we have fixed some minor bugs related to it. That's it.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. It's excellent. I'm very excited. People have wanted to use our VCX library for a long time, and it's great to have it out there. So thank you for that update. I was just resharing my screen so people could see the different issues you're talking about. So thank you. So Nikita.
So I'm sharing my screen now. What we started off. At first, we found a possible problem in under the Android that on 32-bit platforms, revocations are not serialized correctly. We investigated it a little bit and found out that maybe a year or so ago, we implemented a serialization of AMCL primitives. So it is connected to the long mathematics. So the serialization of big number incorrectly. AMCL has
and I should say AMCL is the Apache Milagro crypto library.
Apache Milagro crypto library, yeah. So we serialized in the implementation of the big number, which is different for 64-bit and 32-bit platforms. Now we just took the byte representation of this big number, so we just converted into hex and serialized it. While we were fixing it, came the report from Latitude about the security issues. And there they stated that it should be, we should move to the third version of Apache Milagro crypto library, because they fixed some attacks, for example, time attack and so on. Here we decided that we looked to the Rust implementation of the third version, and it was hardly consumable for us because it wasn't presented as a cargo crate. So we decided that we should refactor it and make it a cargo crate contribute it to the AMCL. Now we have done it. The PR is quite large. It's still in review, and I hope it will get merged. Maybe this week, maybe next week, and we could proceed with the release. And that's it. And one of the big enhancements of this for the third versions that we made is that we now can compile more than one curve instead of like only one curve that was before in version 2, I think. Yeah, that's it. I'm stopping my share.
What I find most impressive about that is that it was identified, the bug was found, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? The additional feedback from Netitude came 2 weeks ago, and you guys got the upgrade done. Fantastic. It was, the turnaround was very impressive, so thank you for that. So Vladimir, let's talk about the release.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
So let me share my screen with the new validator-info. But first of all, I want to say about the new Indy Node release and the main things that are stability fixes, memory leaks fixes, validator-info improvements, and also the old CLI removal. Stability fixes include pull upgrade improvements associated with the new algorithm of package dependencies building, and also we have BLS signatures fixes that allow us to load not only domain ledger, but also pool ledger with node transactions. And also there was a request queues cleaning that was added in this release. So now we have replicas cleared after all replicas cleared after view change, and we have less memory consumption. What's about memory leak fixes? They were found in internal Indy Node structures, and they were found and fixed. So now we have also better memory consumption with some inner data structures. What about the validator-info improvements? Now you can see that we have update timestamp in the validator-info. We have the BLS key string. We have socket information about node and client IP and port. And also now we have two sections with reachable and unreachable hosts, and also we can see the primaries for all instances. And also we have total token ledger transactions. It is showed as 1001 since it's a custom ledger. So, and as I said before, we have our embedded command line tool Indy is no longer available. So now stewards and other clients should use Indy CLI package from the Indy SDK repository. So that's all from me.
Excellent work. Very excited. Most of these changes to the validator-info tool came from the Evernym team that's been doing support of stewards on the sovereign network, and I expect they're going to be very pleased with the changes you made. So thank you. The changes the team made. And Renata.
Hello. Let me share my screen. So let me tell you about changes in logic of using BLS signatures. During the ordering of domain transactions, we save the signed prepares for this transaction. In processing the next request, this signature is added to the new multi-signature field in the new prepare. In a commit creating, this signature is used to sign a commit. It includes a multi-signature of the prepare, the key of the current node, which sends the commit, and the pool root hash of this node. In the validation of the prepare, a pool root hash from the multi-signature is used. But in a commit signature, signature validation, the current committed pool root hash is used. So we have a problem. nodes can have different values of the committed pull root hash in sign-it, and verifying steps. This is a normal situation because at the moment when a commit signing and verifying, a different number of transactions can be ordered. How do we fix this problem? Now both nodes are using the same hash value when creating a commit and during validation. A field with an uncommitted pull root hash value was added to the pre-prepare message. At the time of creation and validation, these values must to be equals on all nodes. Since the order of pre-prepares is strictly defined. During the ordering, the value from the pre-prepare is also used because at this moment, the uncommitted state can be different on different nodes. As a result, in commit validating, the value of the pull root hash of the pre-prepare is also used. Before coding, following the approach of TDD, tests were written and checked after adding the fix. There was also a load test with transactions in pool and domain ledgers. Testing was successful, no errors were detected. So that's all. Any question?
So if anybody noticed that proof requests were really slow on the sovereign network over the last month, this addresses those concerns. So
no, actually, it's about a different thing, but
oh,
it's just a problem identified by the team and fixed, hopefully before it's visible in any production stages. That's because we did a lot of internal debug and analysis, and that's how we came to this issue and hopefully fix it.
Excellent. I hadn't realized it was independent of the BLS signature fixes we did for the pool for the proof request. So that's good to know.
Yeah, it's another one.
Thank you very much. So we have a few people on the call from outside of our direct team. Do you have any questions about any of these items?
So I just showed up to the call. I have it on my calendar every week, and sometimes I come and most times I don't, but I just wanted to come and let you guys know I'm interested in all the cool stuff you're working on. I don't have any particular questions, but good job, everybody.
Thank you, Daniel. We appreciate that. Let's talk about the upcoming sprint then. So the first thing we should point out is in the next 2 weeks, we're going to run a normal sprint, even with the holiday season starting. A couple people on vacation, but it shouldn't be a big impact. So this sprint ends on December 20th. After that, the American people will probably be gone for a couple of weeks, and then the Russian people will be gone for a couple of weeks. So we're going to skip the next sprint demo in early January. So we have the sprint demo on the 20th, and then the next demo will be the 17th, I think, that third Thursday in January. Yes, the 17th. So expect that. We do want to try and get another round of releases out in late January. So whether that's the 17th or the 31st, we still need to figure out. So we'll make that decision in 2 weeks at the end of this sprint. So that's the plan for the next 6 weeks. For this coming sprint on the Indy Node side, we're going to start working on that January release. We've got a number of bug fixes we want to do. We've also been working on the first round of new features we've done in a while, and this is the multi-signature capability. We're changing the way permissions work on the ledger so that it takes more than one steward and more than one trustee in order to perform certain sensitive actions, and that over time that multi-signature capability can be applied to a variety of capabilities. Similarly, we're going to manage that to allow different ways of authorizing the rights to the ledger, whether it's through payment handler or through what we used to call trust anchors. We're trying to come up with a new term for that. we're also working on changing the way the plugins work. The plugin system in Plenum is used for fees and payments, and we've got some feedback on how we can improve that, and so we're going to work on that. And then we're going to continue our performance hardening and efforts around view change and catch up. We also want to produce some documentation, and we've been working on improving our tooling for the test pools that we run to make sure that to do all this stability and performance tests that we've been doing. So that's the key thing. We haven't discussed as a team exactly how much work we can get through. We might be able to bring in a couple more issues, but that's the main goal for the next 2 weeks. On the SDK side, we are also going to start working on our January release, and it's more VCX hardening, and we're excited to do that. It involves the pipelines, especially on mobile devices, some more work on logging, and various other feedback we've had. There's also some bug fixes and other improvements we want to do. We need to figure out how many of these we can pull into the sprint. That's the conversation we're going to have as we kick off the new sprint. And we have a community contribution. Somebody got Xcode support working, and we still need to carve out some time to review that contribution and make sure that it doesn't have any unintended consequences. So I did want to call out that Dong Wang, thank you for the contribution. We're excited to evaluate it. And but we need to figure out how much of this work we can get done in the next sprint. That might take more than one sprint. So that's the plan for the next couple of weeks and for the next 6 weeks. Any questions or comments? Very good. So we will we'll post this on YouTube as we normally do. And if anybody that watches the video has a question, you can reach us on Rocket Chat at chat.hyperledger.org. We hang out in the Indy Node and Indy SDK channels and try to be pretty helpful. And so feel free to let us know if you have any feedback on the videos or any feedback on what we've been working on. Similarly, we use the Jira, as you saw in the jira.hyperledger.org, and you can interact with us there. So we look forward to collaborating.